this is Brenda Abdulyan from Bajidu.com, and I wanted to show you how to make paper for mixed media purposes. These are pages that I've made and that I use in a myriad of mixed media projects, including aging photo frames or gift boxes. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need is a book. And in this case, I've decided to use, let me get these papers out of the way. You can see here there's many different ways. Each one can be unique. On several of these, I actually treated the edges with an edge cutter. So even have like little tiny doily looking edges on this one. But there's just different ink colors, things you can do to make these unique and fun to create. And looks like you have some very old text, which in fact they are, I guess this is an old text because this is a Webster's Dictionary from like the 60s that I have here, and I'm just making it look like it's much, much older. You have to get your old book, and this is my old book. You can see it's pretty tattered. I went to an old consignment store, and in the book section I found this old book. So you find that you just simply start by opening it up, and here are your pages. So plenty of paper to work with there. The second thing you have to do is mix up some paint in a very watery base so that you can create the aging wash. This is yellow ochre, and then I have raw umber in here. So it's 3 colors, and basically you would just put, you know, a dab of that in there. Pretend there was nothing in here because you would put it into plain water. I'm just mixing more. Raw umber, about the same amount. And then the burnt sienna. Okay, and you can go heavier on the raw umber or the yellow ochre or whatever it is you want your tones to be. I have mine going into a little bit orangey. And then this is just plain water. And we're mixing it up to create a wash that we're going to wash over the pages. Make sure you mix up all that paint so you don't end up with a great big smudge of heavy acrylic paint. And this isn't acrylic, by the way, to age these pages with. And see, it's very watery. This is just a sponge brush you can get in your utility store like Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, Ace Hardware, and or at the craft store. And you would just wash this. We want to go all the way to the edge. And then we're going to take a paper towel and wipe it back away. So already you see the difference between the original and the aged. Now if you want it to be darker, just let this dry for a moment and then go back and do it again, and then you can work from there. Now the next step after we have the aged tint on the actual text is to treat it with the distressed look. Now the distressed look is being achieved with Distress Ink by Ranger. And this one particularly is the black. It's black soot exactly. And just run it along the edge of the page. Like that. Then we're going to tear the page out. We're going to run it along the outer edge over here as well. And now we have the basis of the aged page that we would use to then rubber stamp. Now what I have is a mixture of very, to me, interesting or character heavy rubber stamps. This is basically handwriting, and what you would do is put your ink on that, and then just randomly place that on the page to create a different level of interest and age look, to take away the book from looking like 1950 or 60 and taking it into old world. Okay, and now I'm going to add this very beautiful, I don't remember who made this, I bought this recently but I don't remember who made it, this very beautiful dragonfly stamp. And we're going to put that in the middle of all this. Okay, so I'm just going to go right down the middle, right over top of the other stamps I did. There's no rhyme or reason, you can put it anywhere. And now you can start to see how this page starts looking like it came from a couple centuries ago. This is a stamp of Tim Holtz and Tim Holtz design, and this is a bird cage over some music sheets with a bird. So again, ink it up. And then I'm going to go right up in here and you can see the page is already looking very interesting. Now some of the other stamps I have look like postal stamps for posting a letter, and we'll put a few of those in there. And then I have additional small signature handwriting. Again, ink that up, go back up in here. This is actually like the address of an envelope. And then the last one I'm going to use is just a general sort of swirl. And I'm just going to put that right up along the top up here, over top of the handwriting. And I'm going to go back down along the bottom and put that down over here. And as fast as that was, there you have it. An incredibly handy distressed text sheet of mixed media paper that you can do all sorts of things with within just a few minutes. And as I said, endless supply. So that's how you would do that in just a few minutes. Let that dry completely before you apply it to your art project. You can get a little bit more artsy as well, same idea. This time we used raw umber and deep ultramarine blue. So we're going to give it an aged blue wash and then mix that up so that there isn't any extra little chunks or blobs of the actual original acrylic paint. And this will give you a whole different look, but it's still, you know, more artsy, but it's still really cool aged and distressed look for the paper. The other thing I wanted to mention is we're going to show you how to do it on a couple of these really inexpensive paper doilies too. So let's go back to the original book. And even though this has some ink on it, I don't care about that. It just adds to the whole idea. And we're going to wash some of this tint over this page. Because, you know, if you're doing something more goth or you're doing something that is steampunk or something like that, you might really want this blue background instead of the brown or orangey looking aged texture or treatment that we did before. Again, just take some of that off. Obviously not all of it, we do want some of that color in there. And you end up with a blue tinted page. And then of course you're going to go back and do the exact same edge treatment with either the black soot, you know, or you could even use Vintage Photo, which is sort of an orangey brown tint just to give it a contrast. And let me show you what the Vintage Photo looks like. Vintage Photo, instead of being black, is more like a sepia tone. I don't know if you can see that now. And it has a different and complementary look to the blue. But the black looks great too, so don't get me wrong, you could do either one. It really is whatever you're after in your end result, whatever your project is calling for. And we pull this page out. Oops, I tore it a little bit further away from the base than I wanted to there, but it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to make it look distressed as if we found it after years and years of wear and tear, which is fine. I just gave it a whole lot of wear and tear. Edges are really rough, but that does not matter. That actually adds to the whole idea. So come back in here. Just make sure you hit any raw edges with this distressed ink pad. And now you have a different look starting page. And here I'm going to use a multiple canceled stamp, sort of ink stamp. Again, I'm going to use the Vintage Photo. Put that right in the middle. And then I'm going to use a damask sort of pattern, going over and inking that up. And starting from this corner, I'm just going to go in there and create a totally different look. I mean, these pages are super cool because they are extremely versatile for art projects. And actually, so easy to make, it's insane almost. And I don't know about you, but I've shopped and looked for little bags of already pre-cut texturizing or I don't even know what you'd ever call it, but it really does just add texture. Paper to use for my art projects, and they're expensive. You know, if you have a big project especially, and I have a gigantic one I'm working on right now, I'm actually going to use this treated paper to, or book pages, to repurpose a set of end tables and a coffee table. And how am I going to do that? Well, the base of my coffee table and my end tables are a faux stonework, and it's starting to age and crumble away, and I'm going to treat that base with some plaster and a few other little things to strengthen it, and then I'm going to decoupage a bunch of these pages over top of that plaster so that I get an old world sort of a trunk feel out of the base of my coffee and end tables. A little bit of glitter, a few little elements, you know, can't go without the glitter. And I will have what I think will be a very interesting set of tables. But here you can see the difference between the blue and the brown tones. I don't know, pretty cool. It looks like fun, because it is fun. And go ahead and try it. And if you don't want to go through the trouble of doing this yourself, because you don't want to buy the stamps, these stamps are not inexpensive. But if you go out and you buy probably about that much paper, maybe in a smaller size sheets, like you'd get these cut in half, they'd call that 4 sheets, you might pay upwards of, you know, $4 or $5 just for 2 pages. And the book leaves you plenty of pages to work with once you have invested in your stamps and your ink pads. So once again, it's Brenda Abdian from Bajou.com. If you want to get them already made, I will sell them to you on my Etsy site. So just look up Bajou on Etsy, and then you don't have to buy all the other things. And if you just quickly want to have the pages, you can just go there and get them. So keep that in mind too, because there are some folks who just don't have the time, nor do they want to invest in all the things, because it's just a onesie, one-off type project. And for that, you can, like I say, go and get a few pages for a few dollars up on Etsy. And another fun surface that can be treated the same way is a paper doily. These come in packs of 25 or maybe even 50 for, gosh, a little over $1. And you have to treat them a little bit more delicately, because you can't really saturate this with a ton of the wash, because it is a very thin piece of paper. But you can sponge it on or dab it on with the paper towel itself and create your background wash. And same thing was done with the distress ink around the edges and rubber stamps. Now this makes a great decoupage item inside a scrapbook, on a greeting card, if that's on half your greeting card, or on any kind of art journal page, or as far as doing boxes, gift boxes, that sort of thing. But speaking of gift boxes, instead of actually decoupaging it on a gift box, you can actually treat the gift box just like you did the paper. You can see that it has a really nice finished look. I finished it with a low gloss sealant and a little bit of glitter, and I even say do the inside. So there's a little bit of paint in the inside, a little bit of metallic copper paint. The bottom was done, and this is a great way to give a gift because these little boxes only cost, a little bit more than $1 themselves. If you already have the materials, you can make it quite interesting. Simple ribbon, and there you go. So once again, we've got the art papers in the vintage photo colors and the vintage photo distress with a blue background on a doily and on a gift box. So versatile, inexpensive once you have the actual equipment, and easy to do. So hope you enjoy it, hope you find it useful, and once again, come back, subscribe, and see some more stuff like this. This is Brenda Abdian. Bye-bye.